Testing. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Treknicity Live, that show where I talk about things about Star Trek because I can. Yay! And I'll talk about just about anything to do with Star Trek because no topic here on Treknicity Live is taboo. I am Lars Scenza, your host, coming to you from somewhere beyond the cosmos, somewhere in subspace, maybe, or somewhere near Los Angeles, maybe. Anyways, in this episode, we're going to talk about something really positive about Star Trek. I know I've been kind of on a little bit of a downer on the last couple episodes, especially the last episode where I kind of picked apart my beef with Axanar, the fan production that is yet still stalling and going nowhere. So this time I figured I would talk about something that's a little bit more positive about Star Trek and going that direction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about how Star Trek shaped our modern world. There have been numerous influences from back in the 60s and, of course, as the series and the franchises have gone on that have influenced how technology and also social thinking has been approached here in the Western world and practically pretty much all over the world. So let's kind of get into it. In the original series, there was, of course, a great leap in technology because the timeline set for Star Trek, the original series, was in the mid-23rd century. And, of course, by then, not only were we flying through space and visiting other worlds and crewing giant starships full of people and meeting aliens and so on and so forth. The thing is that technology had advanced so far that things like hunger and most diseases had been wiped out, at least as far as on Earth. The thing is that there was technology, of course, like the warp drive, the transporter, the food replicators, and so on and so forth, that ultimately influenced how a lot of technology advanced beyond that point. The thing with technology, one of the most important and influential pieces of technology that we use today was inspired directly from a piece of technology from the original series, that being the cell phone. The communicator, the flip screen communicator, or in the original series, went on to, of course, inspire the first cellular telephone, and of course, in the 90s, late 90s, we started seeing the proliferation of flip phones because they looked, and acted a lot like how the Star Trek communicators had actually had worked. Still have some flip phones out there today, quite a few, more than I thought, really. But of course, again, it was inspired directly by that idea. Another piece of technology that that's actually starting to become a reality is a piece of medical medical equipment, and that is the medical tricorder. You always saw on the original series on TNG, any Star Trek series really, the tricorder, and specifically the one used by the doctors, the medical tricorder. We are now, the one has been developed and will be available for sale in the not too distant future. And yeah, I mean, we now have the technology, the ability to perform some very advanced medical diagnostics in the palm of our hands. Of course, things like CAT scans, MRIs, so on and so forth, those are still, operated or handled by giant machinery, but we are getting closer. It's pretty cool that we're getting to the point where medical technology is taking leaps and bounds so that it will help us fight disease and also live longer. Um, I want to talk about something that always makes me laugh. It was like a little featurette uh, was done some years ago with the guys who played Dante and Randall in the Clerks movies, and of course Dante is like, it's the 21st century. Where's my flying car? I want my flying car. Because in Star Trek we had the shuttlecraft, and even to that point, I mean, I know we really haven't really kind of gotten that close to it, but we are getting closer to that type of technology as well. It's amazing that technological leaps and bounds are being made now, based solely on stuff that was inspired 50 plus years ago. And it's not just that. It's not just the technology. It's also that there are generations of scientists who became scientists solely because they watched Star Trek. I mean, that's amazing. I still remember one of the Canadian astronauts on the ISS, basically giving the Vulcan salute, and of course, that was her nod to her love of Star Trek. Being in orbit around Earth. It's just one of those things that, holy cow, we probably never thought, probably 60 years ago, we probably thought, no, this ain't gonna happen. We'll never get to the moon. We'll never get into outer space. It'll just never happen. And bang, we got it. We have that space station now. We have been into space, and now we're making leaps and bounds, and we're making inroads to going all the way to Mars. I'm actually hoping that happens in my lifetime, because I've always been a lover of all things science fiction, and I want to see us take that leap. I want us to see us make that milestone. We've stepped foot on a celestial body by going to the moon, and now we have the ability to go and step on set foot on another planet, one that has held our attention so securely for many, many years. There's long been since the whole idea of little green men on Mars, waiting for us to arrive. Of course, we watched through Opportunity and whatnot, the rovers, and I think it's Spirit as well. Going out there and just roaming around, looking at this, and it's like, holy cow! Can you imagine? When Gene Roddenberry was writing Star Trek, was he thinking, before 100 years is up, we will have one, stepped on the moon, two, developed a lot of cool technology that it went far beyond what the idea of what was available at the time, because once the microprocessor was invented, that just really kicked things into high gear. I mean, that's nuts. It was just crazy, and it's a fantastically awesome thing. So, I love technology. I absolutely love technology. I sometimes I laugh, because sometimes I think to myself, man, we came up with a piece of tech to do something that we've been doing by hand for a long time. And I don't know necessarily if that piece of technology was warranted to take away or to change how we did that particular task. But at the same time, progress begets progress, and the more we do, the more we'll continue to do, which is pretty cool. So, I know I've sat there. I mean, like we've looked at sci-fi stuff, like and then of course there was the invention, of the laser, which then again was, the whole idea of the phaser was inspired by laser technology that was being developed, and of course now is, widespread, very commonplace. In fact, sometimes when I get bored and I just want to drive my cat crazy, I just get out the laser pointer and make her go run circles around the apartment. So, I guess the one thing I am very, very thankful for is that even though that life has become a lot faster and certainly a lot more complicated, there have been some things that have really given us something to look forward to. And the cool thing about it is that with robotics, with AI, the development of AI, look at it now. We have electric cars. I recently had the opportunity to take a ride in a Tesla, and I thought, wow. It's just a car, but you gotta think that it is an absolute zero emissions vehicle. Like, that's completely run on electricity. And I thought to myself, my goodness, I am experiencing the future. One day fossil fuels will be gone completely, and all we'll have left is renewable energy, which means, vehicles will not be running on fossil fuels like gasoline anymore. And now, yeah, it's just like, holy cow. Life has definitely become a lot more complicated, but some of the things that could be way worse have been made easier by the advent of certain types of technology. If you ask my colleague, my creative partner, my hetero life mate, Patrick, what he thinks about social media, particularly Facebook, I won't repeat it here on this show because I try to keep it pretty clean. But look, with every advancement, every change, every drive that we make, technology is going to keep going with it, and we're going to grow as a society, as a species, because we will become closer in achieving the greater, grander, more exciting goals out there. Again, I'm like, I hope in my lifetime that we actually set foot on Mars, and I can witness that, because that would just be amazing. I hope that that medical technology continues to grow at the rate that it's growing, if not a little bit faster, so that we can tackle medical health issues, or health as an entire study. We can become much more grounded in who we are as people, and also be able to live longer, healthier lives. I know that communication technology will continue to advance, because you just take a look at the new iPhones that were announced yesterday by Apple, and I thought, wow, that's nuts. So we know it's going to keep on going. We know that it is going to be something that everybody is going to be involved in, wrapped up in at some point in their life. You can't escape technology. I know there are older generations who are a little bit more distrusting, unhappy, a little scared or whatever, or uncomfortable with the more finer technology that we use. But, look, Star Trek really shaped that part of our society. They inspired some amazing advancements in technology, and if with that, we can only hope that they will continue to do more, as well as inspire more people to become astronauts, engineers, doctors, scientists, whatever, so that we can continue to develop those technologies. And going forward, I am going to keep my eyes peeled, and hope to see these advancements really better humanity. In some cases, it's been very much I don't know about that. And in some cases, it's been, yeah, absolutely. We are way better off for having this type of tech. So that being said, I will keep my eyes out, my eyes peeled, and my ears open for what's going on, and hopefully see some fantastic advancements continue. On that note, I'm going to wrap up this episode a little bit earlier than usual tonight, simply because I wanted to end off on a good note for the week. I will be back on Monday for another episode of Treknicity Live, and I just want to say that if you do actually like these videos, please do like and subscribe to them so that we can continue to make this stuff and put the time into it so that we can share our thoughts and everything with you. In the meantime, as always, rock out with your Spock out. See you later, folks.